Now let's take the same problem and incorporate a couple of extensions. Suppose you, in addition to the budget constraint, okay, you have some additional restrictions. Suppose that between project 1 and project 2, only one of the two can be selected and not both. Now, between 1 and 2, only one can be selected. Or neither could be selected. If you select one, then the other cannot be selected. So this is investment 1 and investment 2. Okay, and let's set this equal to the first investment and then the second investment. Okay, so whatever value is set here in the changing cells, and that will get reflected here. Okay, now if you sum these two, okay, so this is the total. Now your restriction says, okay, so what is required is between these two only one can be selected. That means the sum should be 1, should be less than or equal to 1. Okay. Now if the requirement is that between the two one must be selected but not both, then you will set this equal to 1. So this sum will always be equal to 1. But here we are allowing for the possibility that neither is selected, or if one is selected, the other is not selected. So this is what will work. Now we have to add this constraint to solver. So we'll go back to solver. Okay. Now we add that this is less than or equal to that. Okay. Now we solve the problem. So now we get a new solution where we invest in 1, 5 and 7, and that takes all the 15,000, and our net present value is slightly smaller. It was originally 46,000. Now we're making less because we have added an additional constraint. That means you're not going to be, at best you can do what we previously made. It could possibly be less, which was the case here. Okay, let's look at one more extension. Okay. Now instead of this, okay, suppose if project 2 must be selected if project 3 is selected. Okay, this is somewhat different. Okay, project 2 must be selected if project 3 is selected. Right. So project 2 and project 3. I'm going to put project 3 here. So this can be done in this fashion. So project 2 is represented by that, and project 3 is represented by that. Okay, if project 3 is selected, project 2 must be selected. So if we set this up as project 2 greater than or equal to project 3. So if project 3 is 0, then project 2 can be 0 or 1. Okay, that is, project 3 is not selected. Project 2 may be selected, may not be selected. But if project 3 is equal to 1, okay, if this value is 1, so then project 2 must be greater than or equal to 1. So which means 0 is not allowed. So project 2 is now forced to be 1. So that's what we want here. So instead of this, we want this. Okay, let's go back to solver. Now we get rid of that previous one. Now we add this constraint. So that is project 2 is greater than or equal to project 3. Okay, now we solve. So now we have another solution. So here we go back to the previous one. Since project 3 was 0, so we went back to the previous solution. So in this fashion, we can modify the model for many such interrelationship kind of restrictions between the projects that we have to select or we should not select. you can incorporate those modifications very easily in this basic model. Now let's suppose we want to do a sensitivity analysis for this budget. So you want to vary the budget, say from 15,000 to 25,000 in increments of 1,000. Okay. So first let's go into solver and remove the constraint, the additional constraint that we inserted. So we'll go ahead and delete that. Solve. Okay, so we have the original model back. So now let's open solver table. Solver table, run solver table. Now we want to only vary the budget, so it's a one-way table. So we'll vary the budget from 15,000 to 25,000 in increments of 1,000, and suppose we want for the output the investments that we're going to select, then comma control click the total NPV. So now we have the solver table here. Now suppose we change the tolerance, so go back to options and change the tolerance to say 5%. Okay. Solve. Now if we run solver table, okay, use the same parameters, and here now you will see that say for 20,000, so total net present value with 5% tolerance is 60,000. Okay, so now you have 61,500 in the previous solver table when we did not set the tolerance level as 5%. So here are the so that one, and that one. So these are the three levels of budget where the 5% actually affects. The rest of them, even though we had 5%, we were able to 5% tolerance, we were still able to get to the best possible solution.